Hi, everybody, welcome into Sports Talk Chicago. My name's Jon Zaghloul. Great to have you here. Channel 59.3 BPOD TV and Roku. Big show for today. The Bears had a tough loss on Sunday, but Justin Fields progressed. We'll talk about it in just a moment. Before we get started, make sure you follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Jon Z Sports and on Facebook at Jon Zaghloul. And if you want to watch more of this show, special clips and interviews, all you have to do is search up Sports Talk Chicago on YouTube or go to sportstalkchicago.com. If you want to watch other shows from the BPOD TV network, search up BPOD TV on YouTube. I want to start today with this. You ever feel conflicted? Ever feel good, but also a bit guilty about something you've done? For me, it's eating. It's food. Sometimes I really try to control myself. Don't eat that last donut. Don't eat that last cookie, but I always give in. It's really hard. I got a sweet tooth. I feel guilty afterwards, but during, I feel great. I'm really happy I decided to have one more donut, one more cookie. Like the Bears game yesterday. I'm conflicted. I don't really know how to feel. Look, on one hand, they lost, and we'll talk about why they did. But on the other hand, Justin Fields played well. Very good, actually. Exceeded my expectations, and despite the interception late, almost had a perfect game, in a sense. Really tough to gauge how it went. Really tough to sit here and say it was a failure, horrible, epic rant. I mean, there's no need for that today. It wasn't horrible. It wasn't great. But it also wasn't the end of the world, that loss. Now, if we're talking playoff chances, big blow. You know, if the Bears had won that game, they'd actually have the last playoff spot again at 4-4. Now, instead, they dropped to 3-5. They're far down on that list. Man, chances are this is going to be the game that haunts them when it comes to their playoff chances. Now, again, this is not a playoff season. This is not about getting in and making a run in the postseason. But for those of you following that still and still caring about it, chances are the Bears aren't getting in after this loss. So we can already look towards next year now. Don't have to worry about playoffs. Don't have to worry about getting in. Don't have to worry about Matt Nagy and everybody sticking around if they make it. Chances are at this point, they ain't getting in. And that's fine. We'll move on from that. I want to talk about the game first off. I was very shocked to see the defense be the issue. I don't know how to explain it either. How do you give up 33 points to Jimmy Garoppolo? In my game preview, I talked about Garoppolo. Hasn't had the best year. He didn't have the best game yesterday either. I mean, no touchdowns, but 322 passing yards. How do you give up 322 passing yards to Jimmy Garoppolo? That's my question. How do you give up 467 total yards to the 49ers offense? That makes no sense to me. This team isn't good offensively at all. Jimmy Garoppolo is your quarterback. You have many different running backs, all of which got hurt. So you're on Elijah Mitchell. I mean, these guys have nothing offensively. And yet, 467 yards in total. Garoppolo passed for 322. Maybe no touchdowns, but 2 rushing touchdowns. 2 rushing touchdowns for a quarterback who can't even move 5 yards out of the pocket. It's comical. 33 points to this offensive unit? Comical. That's a joke. And there's really no one specifically to blame. It's just the defense as a whole was horrible. You know, I can't sit here and tell you, hey, it was this guy's fault, it was that guy's fault. It was just a joke, the whole game. Yeah, Jon Zaghl's shine is starting to wear off. Yeah, it is. And I don't get it. You know, you have these good players defensively. Akeem Hicks played. I know Khalil Mack was out, but really? I'm not trying to take away something from Khalil Mack, but you have other playmakers defensively to make sure a team like San Francisco doesn't score 33 points. You can't justify to me, oh, Khalil Mack's out, so we have to give up 33. No, that's a scam. The defense was awful. Horrible run defense. San Fran ran the ball all day long down the Bears' throats. And a couple of deep balls from Jimmy Garoppolo really sealed the deal. Funny part is the Bears had more rushing yards again and lost. And they left a lot of points on the field. You know, the Bears only punted once all game. And yet they only scored 22 points. Mitchell averaged nearly 8 yards per carry. 8 yards. I don't care who you are. You're giving up 8 yards per carry, chances are you are not going to win. He only had 1 touchdown. Who cares? 8 yards per carry, that's better than Garoppolo, honestly. Better for moving the ball downfield. And that's what happened. San Fran found great ways to push downfield. A couple of deep balls. Deebo Samuel at 171 receiving yards, and there's the story of the game. Eddie Jackson got hurt, and yeah, the Bears missed him too. But between the deep passes from Garoppolo, 2 of them, really, and the run game from Mitchell, the Bears had nothing. They had no answer all game. I mean, we're talking fourth quarter, nothing changed. That's why they lost. I can't believe I'm sitting here saying this, but it's true. The defense let the Bears down yesterday, not the offense. Offense did great. Khalil Herbert, 72 yards. Justin Fields, 103 rushing yards. Give me that all day. Oh. You know me, I love mobile quarterbacks. You know, we finally saw what Justin Fields really could be yesterday. No more excessive turnovers. No 5 turnovers in a game. That's who Justin Fields could be if he's developed correctly. I don't think it's a coincidence either that Matt Nagy wasn't there. I really don't. Nagy wasn't there. That means Laser supposedly called all the plays, and what do you know? Justin Fields, 19 of 27, best completion percentage in a single game all year, 175 yards and a touchdown, 1 pick, 103 rushing yards, though, too. I'm not going to worry as much about the passing yards, because if you run for 103, you're good, like Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson has never thrown for 4,000 yards in a season. But guess what? 2 straight years of 1,000 rushing yards and 3,000 plus passing yards. I'll take that all day. You're racking up yards for your team and you're winning? I don't care how many yards you throw for. Are you accurate? Do you make good decisions? That's what matters for a quarterback. Can you make a pass, no matter what the situation? Can you hit your receiver right in the chest? And do you make good decisions? Are you throwing the ball all the time to the defender, or are you careful with the football? That's how you have to judge a quarterback. And in Justin Fields' case, he did great. The interception, I don't even blame him for that. You know what? The Bears had no choice. End of the game, down by 2 possessions, you have to make a play deep downfield. Had that play been made somehow miraculously, they would have had to score. Onside kick, score again. He was doing everything he could to win the game. And I have no issue with that. And on top of it, that pass hit off Darnell Mooney's hands anyway. It was actually on target. He actually got it there. Can't blame him. Not for that. I won't blame him for that. His rushing touchdown. No quarterback in the NFL, maybe Lamar Jackson, maybe. That's it. There's no one else who could do what he did. Reverse directions like that. I mean, it looked like a running back. Even running backs can't do what he did for that touchdown. That's who Justin Fields is. That's who I expected, right? That's who I was told the Bears would happen. We saw it. I saw an accurate passer, saw a good runner, and I saw a guy who actually made pretty good decisions for the most part. Great game. Probably his best game of his career today. I'd say so. That was his best game in his NFL career. Yes, it was a loss. Yes, maybe the passer rating isn't the best. So the pick, all that stuff, but that was the best game. Now we are seeing progress. And again, ironically enough, Matt Nagy wasn't there. See, a lot of people said, oh, if the Bears win, Matt Nagy isn't there, that proves he should be fired. Not necessarily. The loss doesn't mean, oh, the Bears need Matt Nagy. Justin Fields' development is what you should be tracking. Don't track the win or loss. The Bears lost without Nagy, fine. But Justin Fields, ironically enough, had the best game of his career. How do you explain it? How's that possible? Well, who was calling plays and who wasn't there? That's how you have to wonder if Matt Nagy's really meant for this team. Even in the next coming weeks, when Nagy comes back, how will Justin Fields do? This is the game you have to compare it to. Moving forward, every game from Justin Fields, compare it to this one. Does he progress? Does he get better? Who's calling plays? Who's around him? That's how you'll know if Matt Nagy's really meant to be here. I contend he isn't. That was Fields' best game. Nagy wasn't there. So, that's the way you have to gauge this. Wins and losses matter, but not really. And we know that. We knew that from day one this year. How do we compare Justin Fields' performance with or without Matt Nagy? That's the key. You have to compare San Fran to Pittsburgh. Nagy will be back, so how will Fields do? Remains to be seen. Every game moving forward, no matter who they play, it has to be compared to this game. That's how we'll know. It'll be so easy to tell if it's Matt Nagy or the team or whatever it might be. We'll know by the end of the year who's most responsible for Justin Fields' development. We'll know if it's Justin Fields' fault, if it's Matt Nagy's fault, if it's the defense, O-line, whatever it might be. We'll know by this game. That's why it was so important for this game to be played without Matt Nagy. Seriously. Now we know, we have a gauge, we have a benchmark, how it's supposed to look. How Fields is supposed to look. Don't think, oh, the Bears lost, so they need Matt Nagy. No, that was not the point of yesterday. Win or loss, it didn't matter. What mattered is Justin Fields played pretty damn well without Matt Nagy. How will that go? How will that progress over time? Is Justin Fields going to continue to get better when Nagy comes back, or will he get worse again? If he gets worse again, and Matt Nagy's back, we know who the culprit is. If he continues to get better and better, well, maybe Matt Nagy is the right guy for Justin Fields. I'll tell you this much. I haven't seen it so far. I saw a comfortable quarterback yesterday. I saw somebody who could actually make plays, and I saw someone who wasn't worried about their head coach. Someone who realized, you know what? He's not going to get in the way today. Let me play my game. That was Justin Fields' game. Tons of rollouts, right? On the move. Encouraged to run the football, not be a pocket passer. That's the Justin Fields show. I saw a different quarterback. Saw a guy having more fun, frankly. He had more fun. He was loose. He was comfortable. He looked like he was in charge of the offense. Funny how that changes when Nagy's around. So all I'm saying is judge the game based off of Fields' performance, not off the end result. Yeah, it's a shame, because had the Bears won, they could have been in the playoff race still, but that doesn't matter here. Horrible effort by the defense, that's why they lost, end of story. What we have to realize is, Justin Fields played better without Matt Nagy. When Nagy comes back, how do we gauge this? Will he be better or worse? Fields. That's the key. If Justin Fields regresses, we're talking about 5 turnovers again. We're talking about, hey, it's a free play, and it isn't. We're talking about 10 or 11 passing attempts and a loss. Well, then we know who the culprit is. We know what the problem is. If, though, Fields has a game like this, 200 passing yards, 100 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns, maybe a pick here or there. Close game. Maybe it's Fields finding his stride and working well with Matt Nagy. In retrospect, you might not think this game was important. It was. Very important. I mean, this game could determine if Matt Nagy gets fired or not. Seriously. We have something to compare to. We do. Now we do. We have something to look at and say, well, Matt Nagy wasn't here. How'd he do? Versus when Nagy was around. Matt Nagy knows this too. Everybody does. This game could determine if he's canned at the end of the year. And he wasn't even coaching. How funny is that? Wasn't even coaching, and this may determine if he sticks around. But it's true. Because we saw a different Justin Fields. A better Justin Fields. And as advertised, Justin Fields. Now the question is, will we see the same guy with Matt Nagy back? I have my doubts. And at the end of the season, when the Bears are determining who should come back, who should stay, how Justin Fields progress, I really hope they circle this game. It was a good one. It was well played. It was comfortable. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching Fields. And this offense, for that matter. Wasn't bad. Just remember that. Disregard the end result. I know it was tough, ugly, really tough to watch. I mean, should have scored more touchdowns, and the defense played horribly. But Justin Fields progressed. That's the whole goal, right? That's what we said before the season. That's all that matters. Justin Fields progressed. And he did it without Matt Nagy. I don't think that's a coincidence. Thanks for watching today's show here on BPOD TV, channel 59.3 in Roku. Really appreciate you tuning in. Remember, follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Jon Z Sports and on Facebook at Jon Zaghloul. If you want to watch more of this show, search up Sports Talk Chicago on YouTube or go to sportstalkchicago.com. Great interviews this week. Kurt Schilling, Benjamin Albright. Make sure you're tuning in every night here on BPOD TV. Till then, so long. We'll see you tomorrow.